Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and joining us this morning, because this is not the sunny morning that we were hoping for, but at least we didn't have to shovel our way out, but we may have to shovel our way home. But thanks for coming and joining us. And
well,
Dave,
last night I had quite a bit of hail this said.
I know,
Now this is coming later today.
Hopefully it'll rain a little bit.
but you know, by Sunday, it's going to be 50. It's going to be beautiful on Monday. Spring is
Spring is coming.
It is.
Spring is coming.
But we're very lucky to have, you know, Mr. Service with us this morning. Dave, who is chair of our board of selectmen, who I know it was hard, you know, arranging his schedule, but I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk. And you know, I thought, you know, before town meeting and the election, it's always just nice to hear an update of what's going on in town. And certainly Dave's got, you know, lots of information to provide, and certainly can answer some questions. And our next breakfast in April, I'm going to have from the Better Business Bureau, a young woman who does community outreach, and will be able to talk to us again about identity fraud and staying safe with scams, and you know, how to give safely to charity. So, of course, now I can't remember when. It's the first Thursday in April, and I think that's April 2nd, but I'm not entirely sure. But the first Thursday, so stay tuned. No, you're good. So thank you. I'm gonna pick up a few things, but if anybody needs more coffee or anything else to eat, we've got more. So I'm gonna turn it right over to Dave.
So I didn't really prepare any solid remarks other than to say, you know, it's good to be here. Glad everybody is coming out for the men's breakfast. I think it's a great event. This is my second time speaking, so I guess it's kind of like Saturday Night Live. I'm a returning guest. I don't have a monologue or anything like that. But you know, the things that I like to tell people that have never served in local government or are thinking about serving in local government, you got to remember one thing. The first thing is we're volunteers. You know, we do this to give back to the community. You know, I think in some cases ego plays a little bit into it too. To you know, be the person that try to lead and help lead and be part of the leadership of the community. So you know, we try to be very thick-skinned, but always try to remember that we're volunteers. And generally, you know, we take the complaint calls. I get the calls about the barking dogs, the roosters crowing, and you know, and we try to, and I'd say all of the selectmen, we respond as best we possibly can within our powers. You know, a lot of people look to the board of selectmen as the end-all be-all, but you know, we have limited powers too. You know, there's some things we can get involved in, and there's other things that's the purview of other boards. And so, you know, we can certainly listen. We can certainly try to help out and facilitate any issues that people have. But so anyway, that's the volunteer side of it. One thing I want to talk about specifically today is, you know, other than town meetings coming up, and we've got a lot of projects going on, is that I don't know if everybody's aware that the town has an affordable housing task force and an affordable housing trust. And I'm not so sure that, you know, everybody in the town understands what the role is, or that these two boards or commissions actually exist. I happen to sit on the Affordable Housing Trust, which collects money from projects in town, and basically to further the mission of affordable housing in town. You know, as we start to see more developments going, you know, I'm in Little's Hill, and you know, you see that there are larger homes going up in these developments. You know, we have to remember that we also have to make sure that housing here in Georgetown is affordable, and people, you know, everybody can live and try to come into this community and be part of the community and live here in Georgetown. So there's an affordable housing trust, and what the trust does is keeps an eye on the inventory of affordable housing that we have here in town. Our affordable housing ratio, which the state measures, is approximately 13%. That does include the apartments up on, is that Patriot Way? I can't remember the big housing development there. Longview, sorry. So, you know, we do include that in there because there are some affordable housing units. But we have affordable housing units that the trust is managing and keeping an eye on and making sure that the deed riders and things like that are in place, and that the homeowners understand that they're an affordable housing unit. So we've contributed money, some of the money that we have, that comes from projects in town. We've collected, for instance, right now, there's about $220,000 in the account for the Affordable Housing Trust. And that balance may grow as more developments come into town, and the developers are required to either put affordable housing within the project or pay an in lieu payment to the trust, so that the trust can in turn use that money to develop other units. We're going to be rolling out, and we're working on it right now, and hopefully in April we're going to be rolling out a rental assistance program, a pilot program where we're going to earmark $50,000 to help people that have lost their job, finding it difficult, or working towards retooling themselves and going back to school because they lost their job to start another profession. A temporary help, based on a whole bunch of guidelines. Obviously, there's guidelines and requirements that you have to be part of. So those are the types of things that we're doing. We're also looking for properties that are in disrepair to maybe take that property down and put up an affordable housing unit. We're not going to be building like the old style years ago inner city projects. That's not the role. So just to give you a little information on that, so that if you know somebody that a relative or somebody that lives in town or somebody that wants to move into town that's looking to rent, and they're having an issue where they're transitioning through school, retooling as far as their profession, then you want to watch for that program that's going to hopefully be coming either April or May. We only have limited dollars. It's a pilot program. Just to, we're going to try to go ahead and see what we can do to test that program and see what the need is. Second thing I wanted to mention is in this warrant coming up, myself and my fellow selectmen, we voted to put additional $5,000 into the budget for real estate tax work-off program. I don't know if everybody understands what that is, but you can volunteer at the town, and so many hours, and I don't know what the requirements are.
60 hours.
Is it 60 hours? Okay. And you can get a $500 credit on towards your real estate taxes. We've increased that program to add an additional 10. I know it's small. It's a small amount, but at least we're increasing as we go, as we raise taxes in order to fulfill some of the infrastructure needs in the town. We have a Pembroke school that's basically fallen apart around the kids that needs to be replaced. And it's a sacrifice. It's a huge sacrifice for the residents. Luckily, or fortunately, we've partnered with the state where they're picking up a little over 50% of the project, of the things that they reimburse for. They're picking up right around 52.1%.
I have a question for you on that. What if the state now says they're not gonna have the money? What happens to us
The money
now?
is already there. It's guaranteed money. That money has already been set aside by the state. I asked that question. I asked that question directly to the MSBA and the state treasurer, and he said that money's already. They wouldn't commit if the money wasn't already there. That money can't be cut through any type of budget line item money. That money's dedicated and there.
Because our taxes are so high now.
Right. Well, 1 cent of the sales tax goes towards these projects. So 1% of the sales tax, not 1%, 1 penny of the sales tax goes to, for every penny that's spent, goes to rebuilding schools. So they've done a real good job with this program. So there's millions and millions of dollars there that's available, and we've had to compete. We've had to go online and submit our project, and they evaluate it based on need. And we were fortunate again to say, the high school needs some repair also. If we're gonna take care of Pembroke, then the high school needs to be modified in order to handle some of the special education class that would be moved over to the high school. We would want to remodel the high school to make the class sizes more acceptable and more user-friendly for the students. We could have been put back in line and had to compete. The state, the MSBA recognized our need and said, you know what, we're going to put you right in with we're going to tie it in to the Pembroke project, which potentially could bring us another $2.5 to $3 million reimbursement from the state. So, we've had to compete against other cities and towns. At our level, at 50%, is not as high as some of the other, inner city towns, where, cities like Lynn or Lawrence. I would bet that their reimbursement rate's a lot higher than ours. But you know, based on where we are as a community, that's where the state can go with the reimbursement. So we're looking at a real beautiful school. It's not gonna be the Taj Mahal. I've been on that committee since day one. It's been about a 2-year process now. So that's the big focus right now, is the school, getting the school done. Also, in conjunction with that, is repairing Elm Street and giving Elm Street a complete facelift. You know, sidewalks, the road, drainage, all those type of things that could be affected by the school. Because, you know, obviously, we don't wanna have everything falling apart to get to the school. We wanna make sure that, and Elm Street, I guess, is the oldest, and that's the oldest street in
We've
town.
got a lot of streets in town that need help.
Yep.
You're not getting it.
Well, if you talk to Peter Durkee, he's done a complete analysis, and he's had an independent person come in and take a look at the condition of all the streets and ranked and rated them based on the ones that are the worst to the best. And he's working on picking those off over time. I mean, there's limited money. That's the issue.
You have to assign priorities to something like that, and I think Peter has done that.
Yes.
He's trying to picking away at it, and his stuff needs to be repaired.
Right. And you know what, I gotta tell you, Peter Durkee does a phenomenal job. With the amount of dollars that he has, he's always looking for ways to, you know, to save money, recycle. I know he recycles the engine oil and uses it for the heat in the garage. I mean, you know, it takes a special person to, you know, go ahead and take things that far. And I think he's done a fantastic job with the limited dollars that we have. You know, small town, we only have so much money to go around.
I gotta give him a sort of a gold star. He took the Harry Murch Park, which is part of the Historic Commission money that we were able to raise in town. He did that for about 50% less than the estimates came in at. And he had friends that donated equipment, brought in landfill, brought in loam, all the sort of stuff that really brought it back to its original condition now. So he's a terrific guy.
You know, and I will say it, being involved as an outsider, you know, I'm not in town hall every day. I have my own job and my own career, and you know, all of the department heads, you know, police chief, fire chief, you know, council on aging, you know, everybody is doing a phenomenal job with the dollars that what they get. You know,
Everybody knows Georgetown roads are better than the towns near us.
Right, and you know what?
Yeah.
Especially a snowstorm too. You can tell when you hit Georgetown. No offense to our neighbors. I am on TV. No offense to our neighbors, but we think we're proud of the way. And I've said this publicly at a select meeting. We're very proud of the job that we do.
A good example was the blizzard of '78. Georgetown was clear, we could get out of town, but of course the
They
governor.
couldn't come in town.
Right, yeah, you couldn't
put
get
the
anywhere else.
kibosh on it, we couldn't go to work.
I put salt out in town when they had bag salt. We had a spreader van and a pickup truck with a point on it.
Yeah.
You'd take the bags, 5 or 6 bags, and head for Andover Hill. And lift both ends of the salt bag up and put salt out with a little pipe.
Really?
And Georgetown
And now
was
it's
always
liquid. I
bare
mean, I don't know
road.
if we're using liquid, but I know that the state in some areas are using liquid now.
They did it one time.
Yeah. I guess it's more effective. It's a little more money, but I guess it's much more effective.
Well, they got a sidewalk over Elm Street all the way.
Mm.
Sidewalk on Elm Street now.
You know, getting back to Elm Street, you know, from what I understand, to do a complete street and a road with drainage, curbing, everything is about $1 million a mile, from what the estimates that I've heard. Yeah, well, don't forget, it's an oil-based product that you're using. I mean, the materials are just, you know, very high. You know, and even in the school, this case of the school, who would think that, you know, an elementary school would cost $48 million? I mean, and my first thought going into it, you know, and I'm an accountant by trade, thinking, you know, maybe $25 million, $48 million, and we're not putting, you know, crown molding and, you know, like I said, I've been part of the design.
I can remember when Long Hill, there was only one house up there,
Mhm.
was Buell's big estate, and it was dirt. We used to have to go up and grade the road.
Mm.
Now they got all big houses up there, and
Yeah.
they can't go in from the Raleigh end because the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, you know, there's other development that's gonna be going on in town. There's a proposal, a developer looking to do either, it depends which way he goes, but looking to do a 38 house development off of, I wanna say Searle Street in that area. Busing and Searle in that area. It depends which way planning board and the developer work that out, but from what I understand, and again, this is secondhand knowledge, I was not at the meeting, but from what I've seen, you know, maybe there's another 38 houses going in. Now, I guess the trend now is, though, to build houses more in that 2,500 square foot range now. People have, you know, we're back to that downsize. Remember when everybody had a big caddy? And then we went to, you know, the small cars? You know, we're kind of back to that cycle again where people are thinking a little bit smaller and not as big. You know, and it changes the cost.
Basically, the economy, I think, is leading us in that direction.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
have to find ways to tighten our belt and
This big
make
house
it.
they're building over here now, up on the hill, that's the last house, that's supposed to be Richardson Lane.
Yep.
I see the people was on the weekend looking at it.
Yep.
The man, his wife, and 2 girls.
Mm.
They're gonna live in that house, that's a big house
Yeah.
too.
You know, and I think since 2007, you know, 2008 to now, you know, we've all learned to tighten our belt. I mean, look at, you know, even the municipalities. And, you know, so if you feel the pinch, so isn't the town. And, you know, what's hit is we've had a lot of infrastructure issues that need to be addressed. You know, we cannot have windows that don't close in a school. We can't have a heating system that gets blocked by the snow. You know, we can't,
Design.
you know, it's the design of that school. And that school was only projected to last a certain point, and we're probably 20 years over that particular useful life
It's
of the
about
school.
50
I have
years.
a point
Yeah.
for you. Why doesn't the state have a set of plans already made that go to each town? They wouldn't be spending all this money.
For the schools,
Yes.
they do have that. They do have a program where they have a cookie cutter program, school. So, and they'll give you more credit if you go with that school because it's less cost. They'll partner up. The problem becomes each site is different, and you can only fit, you know, certain things on a certain site. And so that's why it's not good for, you know, it doesn't work for every community. Sure.
Trouble is, today, they don't have quality control. Every school they built that I ever worked on, and some that they didn't work on, they roofs leaked before they even got the school finished.
They have to take the lowest bidder.
And
Well-
they don't last.
Well, now, the state has done a real good job because the state's partnering with the communities to make sure that they have an engineer on site, and it's so, there's 2 sets of eyes. The town itself has to have a project manager that keeps an eye on all that, you know, and approves all that stuff. And on top of that, the state has an engineer there making sure. You know, those roof systems, the trusses and all that, they've been much more improved than they were in the past. You know, the lifetime, the warranties, the methodology, the technology.
Finish coating on there.
Yeah,
They
it's,
don't allow
years ago
you-
they had those lap seams.
Yeah.
Now they've got technology now that does complete, you know, no seam, flat roofs, you know. So all that technology
The
is really
schools
good.
don't last, in 20, 25 years, they wanna tear them down and build a new school.
Well, you know, you have to look at population too. You know, you have to look at growth and population and project those numbers out, because once the sense of building a school today, for today's population, you have to kind of look ahead and see what open space we have in town, how much more build out can be, and build a school not too big, but have a little bit of growth there, so that 20 years from now, we're not coming to town saying, hey, the school's too small, you know?
Dave, have they
So-
figured out that flat roofs that work in California don't work out here in the east?
Yeah, the one, especially the ones with a little bit of a pitch and that rubberized stuff,
Yeah.
that's like an avalanche. You know, that last snowstorm, the big blizzard we had this year, you know, myself, Phil Trapani, and the fire chief, we went around looking at the roofs, because we learned a lesson the last time when the roof collapsed and, you know, the kids were in the school. And you should have seen that Pembroke school, it was like an avalanche, just waiting to happen. It was unbelievable. If it ever came down on kids, I mean, people would really get hurt. So we decided to work with the school committee and Carol, our superintendent, to shut down the schools for another day, so that snow would melt. But yeah, you're right. You know, I was there, we were trucking snow out of the middle of the school, through the school, because there was no way to get the snow out of the courtyards. You had to bring it in big, you know, like laundry, you know, the hospital laundry buckets. They had those on wheels, put snow in them, going through the school to get the snow out of the courtyards. I mean, you know, the design was not really pertinent, or, you know, the design really didn't fit, you know, for the Northeast. That was a
Let's hope
California.
this one isn't like that.
I'm sorry?
Let's hope this
No,
one
well,
isn't
we've
like
addressed,
that.
you know, we've,
What
you know,
kind of a roof is gonna be on this one?
there's some flat roof, there's some pitched. We've had multiple public hearings and, you know, opportunity for people to come and see the project. It's been on TV. I encourage you to, you know, continue to, you know, keep an eye and you know, come to the meetings when, you know, our meetings are open meetings. You can come see the design. Matter of fact, Tuesday night we'll be at Town Hall. So if you want to come up and see you know, what it looks like. Again, it's been on TV and it's been played multiple times.
Look at the building where the bowling alleys is. That's all flat roof where the alleys are. But there's a lot of alley columns inside the bowling alleys where the alleys.
Yeah.
That's all flat roof.
Yeah, if you design it right, I mean, technology is really advanced, you know, in terms of engineering on flat roofs. I had concern about the flat roofs, and, you know, because about 3 years ago, when we had that big blizzard, I was up on the high school roof, and there was about 50 people shoveling, and the roof was doing this. And I'm like, I'm a volunteer, I'm getting out of here. I got off that roof pretty quick.
1947, there was 48 inches of snow on the level everywhere here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You weren't around then.
No, I wasn't even
I
thought of
remember that. It started snowing in the
That's
middle
the
of March.
first time I lived on the farm.
It snowed every day from November to March.
We had flurries every 3 days, but it was 6 inches every flurry.
You know, so, you know, we're working towards looking at and keeping in mind all of those issues with the other school. I think we picked the right designer and the right architect. You know, we've been, you know, asking a lot of good questions, making sure that they can handle the snow loads. You know, the snow loads now, they can handle, you know, they can handle much more than they have in the past.
There's one good thing about it, you'll still be paying for it when I'm gone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well,
You
know, and
are a threat.
Yeah.
and you know what, and that's a huge sacrifice that we've asked the townspeople, you know, but when are we ever gonna be able to build a school where somebody's paying for almost half of it? You know, I mean, if we had to pay for it on our own, we just wouldn't be able to do it. You know, I think, you know, the children deserve a place where they're safe, they can breathe the air, you know, they can certainly learn, you know, in a state-of-the-art building. You know, it's time. I mean, everything wears out over time. I mean, I don't know how many people have the same car since you were in high school. You know, not many. You know, yeah. You still driving it?
You would.
Well, I gave it to my son, it's in Alabama now.
Yeah, but it's called a classic. There you go. So you wouldn't drive that every day to school, every day.
But if they teach the mothers to make peanut butter sandwiches, we wouldn't have to have big cafeterias.
Well, you know,
We never had cafeteria.
the cafeteria there at at the school, in all honesty, is it's worked into the active area in terms of for plays and stuff like that. So it's multiple use. Yeah. Because the state is not going to allow us and partner with us to build this monster school that, you know, you only have a stage here, you only have the cafeteria here. They're really saying, hey, you know, for every buck that we put in, we want to make sure we're getting a school that makes sense and there's no excesses, really, in all honesty. Yes, sir.
What I hear you saying about this new school is the same thing that they said about the school that is in there now.
Mm-hmm.
I was here and owned property around that school, and they said, this is the school of the future. And just the same thing you're saying.
Yep.
This new school is gonna be a thing of the future.
Yep.
Yeah, they say it'll last
There's no
50
difference
years.
now than back then.
And I agree with you. But you got your money's worth on that school. You got your more than your money's worth on that school. That school was put up at a very low cost and lasted 20, 25 years
Yeah.
longer than it was expected to
That's
last.
correct.
So you got your money's
If-
worth.
if
And
we
I
get-
agree with you.
If we
You know,
get
who
30
knows-
years out of that, you're lucky. This
Right.
school right now that you're talking about has been sitting there for 50 years.
Right, you're 20 years past its useful life. So I don't disagree with you, I agree with you, but
There's town hall.
who knows what
Yeah.
30 years from now is, you know, advance to 30 years from now, when I'll probably be sitting here listening to some young selectman saying, this is the school of the future. You know, so you just don't know. Technology moves
the
forward,
Philly
society moves
school.
forward, design moves forward, the way we teach our kids moves forward. You know, I don't know, my kids are, you know,
Where
grown
is
adults,
the
I don't know.
land
I'm sorry.
coming from that's gonna widen Elm Street? You're gonna have buses parked on Elm Street.
No, buses are all gonna be on the property. There's land on that spot that was good. Matter of fact, I was big on this, is that we didn't want the stack of the parents coming out on Elm Street. The stack now, the way the school has been designed and where the new school is gonna be positioned, all of the traffic for those students will be isolated on the property and not extend out to Elm Street. We've made sure of that. These are the things that, we met with the neighbors, we met with all of the abutters, we've talked with everybody to say, you know, what do you expect from, you know, this new school? What are the issues on Elm Street? We've had multiple meetings with the abutters. And one of the things was, and I was adamant about, was two things. A, all of the cars need to be isolated on the property when the kids are being picked up and dropped off. And number two, there needs to be an emergency access road so that if that's blocked, the fire department and everybody else can get up through the back, and we've done that too. So,
Kenny had a house built right by Elm Street.
yeah, so we've met with all the people there and taken their concerns and made sure that all those concerns were addressed. So, you know, again, it's always gonna be people on each side of the issue, you know, each side of the aisle that, you know.
It's taxes that concern us.
Yeah, it's a tax, listen, it concerns me, I mean, my tax bill's up there too, and you know.
Look at where you live. Look
I
at what you
understand.
have for a house.
Right, I understand, and I'm not crying, you know, I'm just saying that, and I don't have kids in school, my kids have never seen the inside of a Georgetown school, my kids were already grown up when I moved into town. But I knew as part of being a Georgetown resident, that I'm gonna have to also kick in money to educate the kids of the town. I mean, it's only right, people did it before me in the town I was in, and people should, you know, people will do it after me down the road, you know, so, you know, you have to have good facilities, you don't have to have, you know, this big monster of a school that's, you know, this big ornate
It's like
school.
the entrance to the old Pearly School. Now, what
what's
use
up?
is that? That's of no use. It just looks good.
Well, Pearly School, and I've said this publicly, what I would like to do after we get the school underway and we get that whole project done is to look at the what we can provide to the seniors and how we can use that Pearly School to help out with a you know,
That was
possible
high school.
senior
That was high
center.
school when they had it burnt. That school burnt too.
There's water issues there. There's still some water issues
Same
there.
building on the
You do
building
need a
right now.
senior center in town. That's one thing that is lacking in many of the communities around us.
And you have my commitment that we're gonna look at that. There's some real good possibility to use the Pearly School for a very low cost to modify that Pearly School for a senior center. And you have my word that, you know, I'm gonna do whatever I can to, you know, Steve Smith and I have been talking about this for a while. And, you know, once the school is underway and we get everything moved over, we're gonna absolutely positively look for a way to convert the Pearly, a piece of the Pearly School and integrate the preschool with seniors. I mean, I think that's just a real good fit. So we're looking at that. That's on the radar. There's, you know, we haven't forgot our seniors too.
On voting now, is that gonna be another problem down there when they have voting in school at the same time and ain't room, all the traffic's gonna be pouring in there?
You know, I would bet maybe we give the kids the day off. I don't know. That's, you know, I think that's more of a town clerk and a school department issue as far as voting goes. Again, you know, I don't know. I really can't answer that question. But yeah, I think if you give the kids the day off, you know,
They should.
you know, give the kids the day off and go from there.
It's
But,
very, very nerve-wracking when the kids are in there and they're voting.
yeah, it's congested.
They should, even if they just discontinued for the day, the physical activities on the court.
Mm.
It's very noisy in there.
Well, I mean, that's something to pass on to the town clerk. I mean, I would, you know, pass that along to her and mention it to
Somebody
Carol.
needs to tell the school committee.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll mention that, you know.
That's why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, okay. I'll pass that along to Ann and the chair of the school committee. So there's a lot of good things going on in town. I mean, we, you know, I think we should be proud of what we've accomplished over the last, you know, well, even people before me, but taking a look at what we've done some work on the public safety building. We replaced the roof on the fire department. I mean, we've done some, you know, we've done some work on Peter's building.
For construction.
Yeah, you know, you know, and I think, I don't want to be critical of anybody before me, but I think sometimes you have to spend a little bit more to get the right design, to make sure that it lasts longer, you know?
Quality instead of
Right, it's
quantity.
it's not always the cheapest price, it's the best design that's gonna take you into the future with less maintenance, you know? You know, so, you know, and that's a problem. I mean, ongoing maintenance for the town is an issue. Where do you find the dollars?
That's a big problem on everything, on
It is.
maintenance, and it's
Right.
the last, first thing they cut the money on, and the
Right.
last thing they fix.
Yeah, and you know, and I've been a stickler about that, you know, at least since I've been in office, is to keep an eye on, you know, when I see things falling apart, I mention it and say, hey, why is that, you know, why are the front stairs at the town hall roped off? You know, those things you know, those stairs need to be fixed, so that, because once the ice gets in there, they're gonna, so we got them fixed, you know.
Us old folks have an awful time.
I've seen it when it was icy, you couldn't walk on them.
Yeah, because they're all granite. Yeah. You know, so anytime I see things like that, I point it out, and generally, you know, we try to get things fixed. You you know, it's good that, you know, at times we accept land. There's times we could accept a building, or, you know, when people, you know, abandon things, or wanna give something to the town. The first question we ask is, what's the service, if there's a service contract on it going forward, and how are we gonna maintain this thing going forward, before we even accept it? You know, that's an issue. Where do you find the money to continue the upkeep, the painting, you know, and you've all probably had your own house and your own, you know, at one point, or your own car, you know, you have to maintain things, you have to have oil changes, you have to buy new tires. Same thing with the town.
How is, status on our ambulances? You know, they're getting old already.
Meeting with them tonight. And good question, and I didn't plant you in the audience either. I'm actually meeting with the police, fire chief, and meeting with Jeff Manning tonight to go over the financials. The ambulance program has been phenomenal. The receipts and the runs and the usage has been far exceeded what we anticipated in our pro forma. So I'm going to go over those numbers with them tonight. I made sure that from the beginning, if they wanted me to support it, I told them from the beginning, when those ambulances run out or, you know, need to be replaced, that the money comes from that budget and no other additional expenditure from the town. And I've held them to that. And the other thing I said, and I said this publicly, if after 3 years it's not profitable, it gets shut down, period. And we'll go back to the old system.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's profitable. Yeah, again, I'm gonna review all the numbers tonight.
I never use it.
No, yeah, God, you know, hopefully nobody here uses it, but you know what? From what I understand, people are more apt to take a ride in the ambulance and not refuse if it's a Georgetown ambulance, because the guys showing up and the ladies showing up are people from Georgetown that they
We've
recognize.
had Byfield for years, and we're very happy with
Yeah,
Byfield.
they did a good job, and you know, they still cover, they still, you know, ALS and
I
all
went
that.
to the hospital in the ambulance and they done a good job.
Yeah.
And I live on the second floor, just away.
Mm-hmm.
And the chair car, they carried me down.
Yeah.
They carried me right down, done a good job.
You know,
Slide down.
you know, I can't say enough about all the departments in town, and
Too bad they
fire
don't
departments.
advertise a little bit.
What, the ambulance?
The ambulance done a
What's
good
going
job.
on with them?
Well, you're gonna hear at town meeting, you're gonna hear some more that comes out, on that, because they're gonna have to, we have to change the structure of how the accounts are set up. Matter of fact, the state actually came in and said, the account that you're using is too small, it's not designed, you know.
Well, they got them ambulance from down Florida anyway, right?
Yeah, they went,
They've been had.
Secondhand them.
yeah,
That's
and you know
why-
what, yeah,
That's why I asked the question, because,
we're not
must have
taking
some
any,
miles on them.
we're not taking any money out of our operating budget.
They've done a good job.
Yeah, they're doing a great job managing that whole process. Because I get, every month I get a report that shows the
Well,
receipts,
see,
the
we
receipts
don't know
of it.
what's going on, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, you know what, I'll mention that to them tonight, maybe they should sit down with the newspaper and, you know, do a little.
Because
you know,
I don't watch
Status
the selectmen's meeting, it's,
Why not?
It's good, it's exciting.
It's,
I watch it
if
all.
you really wanna fall asleep, just turn us on.
that's what I
I
was
turn
doing.
it on, channel 9.
That's it, yeah, yes, sir.
My wife fell coming out of Dunkin' Donuts a couple of years ago, and they called for an ambulance, and a police car showed up within 2 or 3 minutes, and then a rescue truck from the fire department showed up,
Mhm.
and then a Georgetown ambulance showed up, and then another ambulance from a private service showed up, and they were all trying to fight for taking her to the hospital. and
Their commission's all they
we said, we'll take her, we'll do it ourselves. She didn't think she was hurt, but she was.
Yeah.
But what do they charge to take someone to a hospital?
A lot of that's mandated, if you're on Medicare, the reimbursement rate is a flat rate. So we can bill whatever we want, but we only can go by what the Medicare reimbursement is.
What is that?
I wanna say it's a little over $200. I don't know that number exactly. I'll find out that number tonight when I do the whole review with them. But, you know, like I say, you said the police department was first on the scene. You know, most of our police officers are EMTs, and they're the first to respond.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to the scan. I have the scanner on all the time at my house.
I
And
just-
listen to what goes on. But,
I couldn't believe the show they put on, the guy's out there throwing rock salt, there wasn't any ice in the parking lot, but he wanted to make sure he wasn't gonna get sued or something. And
know-
they were telling me, oh, you really need to
But that
go
was
to
a
the
day
hospital,
late
get this
and a
ambulance.
dollar shot.
yeah, shit already fell. Well, you know, again, I can't say enough good things about police, fire, highway, everybody. I mean, we've got a great crew out there that really looks out for you know, for the residents of the town, and very responsive, and, you know, you gotta give it to the firemen who jump in their own pickup truck and go to the scene first, and then the other guys are going to get the truck, and, you know, I mean, that takes dedication, and, you know, they're not paid big money to do this, this is, you know,
We used to do
We
it.
weren't paid anything.
yeah, times have changed.
Those days are over.
Those days
Yeah,
are rolling.
Yeah,
There's
You know-
nothing for free, we know
That's right,
that.
there's no free meal here.
you know, and you know, just to roll out a fire truck, you know, the diesel fuel, I mean, diesel fuel's what, $4 a gallon now?
There's another topic, that ladder truck is getting old.
Yeah, I think we have 2 more payments of $77,000 each.
Then they'll be looking for new ones.
Yeah, you know.
We're all getting old here, what is this?
Not me.
You know, and the other thing too is, even individual fireman equipment has changed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and those requirements change on an annual basis from what I understand. So, you know, and then some of these guys are buying this stuff themselves, just to, you know. So, you know, that's a real good, run department. And those guys, you know, and I shouldn't say guys, there's ladies that are very, very dedicated to the town. Have you seen any of our new police officers that we just put on?
No.
Yeah, very young, good looking, young,
Yeah,
very young.
I
I was
had
like,
one stop me down on East Main Street the other day, and I still don't know why he stopped me.
oh, right.
You're old,
You're
that's
old.
why.
Still licensed.
You're old.
Well,
I had, of course, I
That's
had
good.
Tom and Jane in the car with us,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going down to Bradford Tavern, I'm on East Main Street, just beyond Elmer. Blue lights go on, so I just pull over, open the window, and he walks up and looks at me, goes around, looks at the sticker on the car, and says, oh, I misread the plate.
Oh.
They don't
That was
stop
a young
me,
guy.
I go
He
too
didn't-
fast.
yeah, right, yeah. Be careful, it's 25 miles an hour over there, you know, right by that Georgetown building supply. But no, you know what, you know, you laugh, but, you know, we're all getting older. And it just seems that, you know, we're hiring, you know, we're hiring new people. So there are some new people, some new police officers, and they're doing a great job. All reports so far, great job, really professional, but they look awfully young.
Times have changed.
Yeah, so, and, you know, so, I don't have anything else other than, you know, we got the town meeting coming up, so if you want, come down, please, I ask you to come down to town meeting, get involved, and we're gonna do a state of the town, end of April. There'll be a presentation by most of the town departments of, you know, what's going on and what we're doing.
Can you do a serious request for, you said you're looking into this senior center. When you look at what Colleen has done and accomplished over the time that she's been here, it's unbelievable. I mean, what she's managed to take care of. If you look around what other towns have, they have their own senior center and they can meet, and she sort of juggles around there, and if the Congregational Church has a function going on, they yank their meeting out and have to cancel it and things like that. So I think that should be an important priority in town.
Exactly, and it's definitely on the agenda for us. We haven't, you know, posted it publicly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, absolutely. I think we have a fantastic opportunity to do something with the Pearly School to integrate seniors and a senior center and a thriving preschool program there. And we'd have to do that in conjunction with the school department, obviously. And Carol's all for it too, we've talked, you
Yeah.
know, and I think she's mentioned it publicly too. You know, it's great for the seniors and it's great for the kids to have that integration in some type, you know, and look at that type of programming. Again, I'm not on the school committee and I'm not, you know, but I would definitely like to see that. I mean, it's a town building, we definitely, you know, again, let us get the other project underway, get the shovel in the ground, get some movement on that, and then we'll take a look at, definitely, and I know Steve Smith and I are looking at that, as all of the Board of Selectmen certainly want to support something, you know, because we need it, it's definitely needed, no doubt about it. And you know, Colleen's done a fantastic job on the limited budget that she has.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't know how you do it.
I do it with a lot of help from my friends, which includes the Board of Selectmen. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, you all really understand what we're doing, and I feel very fortunate that I know that we're in good partnership.
And we just mentioned, I don't know if you were behind.
In the sink
Yeah. Looking at, you know, some type of facility.
with the Pearly.
With Pearly, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
That's
it's certainly
all.
something that would make, you know, it makes good sense, because we know from having looked at other pieces of property in town, it's, you know,
when pieces became available, and the selectmen would say, take a look and let us know what's a pro and a con. And Curly is centrally located, it's got good parking, it's got access to sidewalks so people can walk back into the village center. It's handicap accessible.
Has a cafeteria
It
already.
has
it has
infrastructure in place, so
Right.
we could, but I said, we could make good use of every single little bit of space that's available to us, because we've got the programs to put in place. So we'll
Certainly,
see
that's
how we
that's
go.
on the right. That's.
But you know what, I mean, until that time, though, I mean, we're making it work now, and, we'll continue to make it work.
There were plenty of rocks where they were building a new school anyway.
All right. Well.
I appreciate you coming
Oh,
out.
I
in
love
this,
coming
and-
down. I
yes,
wish I could
yes.
come to every one.
Well, we'll ask you back.
Yeah, sure. I said it was like Saturday Night Live on
Yeah,
maternity.
yeah, exactly. Oh, and thank you all for, coming. This is just great.
You did a good
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to Salem and I have another broadcast.